Tonight on Quinnipiac Live, healthcare teams depend on well-trained, knowledgeable nurses. We'll show you how Quinnipiac School of Nursing is preparing students to meet the challenges of the 21st century through our holistic curriculum, state-of-the-art facilities, and clinical experiences. Join the conversation. Quinnipiac Live starts now. Welcome to Quinnipiac Live. I'm your host, Katie O'Keefe, and tonight we have a special show planned for you with a variety of guests. We welcome those watching us through the Quinnipiac Facebook and YouTube channels. Be sure to like us on Facebook or hit the subscribe button down below on YouTube. Throughout the show, we invite you to join the conversation. Submit your questions now in the comments section. Your questions will be answered live by our guests, or in our Quinnipiac Live chat room by our team of Quinnipiac students and alumni. And be sure to like this video or ask a question to be entered into our Bobcat Prize pack. One lucky winner will be selected by the end of the show. Joining me now are Katie Euricchio, Jamison Graham, and Erica Mumm. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having us.
So my first question is, why did you choose Quinnipiac, and what has your experience been like in the School of Nursing? Katie, can you start us off?
Sure. So I actually went here undergrad as well. I graduated in 2015. And when I decided that I wanted to come back to grad school to be a nurse practitioner, it was a very easy decision for me to come back to Quinnipiac. Basically because I had such a good experience undergrad and I felt like I got the foundation that I needed to be a good nurse. I had such support from the faculty, and I feel like I had such great clinical sites and affiliations. It just made it very appealing to come back. But one of the best things was when I was a brand new nurse, and I'm being precepted and I'm working with new staff, and they'd always be like, "Where did you go to school?" And I was like, "I went to Quinnipiac," and they'd always be like, "I'm not surprised," like with the skills, and just it was a lot of confidence that I had from the knowledge that they gave me here. And another big reason that I came here for grad school was the fact that they actually find the clinicals for me, which was very helpful. And they've built a lot of simulation labs and things like that that I was looking forward to using as a student. So it's been very helpful.
Definitely. And Jamison, for you too, why did you choose Quinnipiac? And what have your experiences been like in the School of Nursing?
So the reason I chose Quinnipiac mainly was for their holistic nursing program. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it is healing of the mind, body, and spirit. We're one of only 14 schools in the country that are holistically endorsed. And I consider myself a spiritual person, so it definitely was a no-brainer when picking the school. And then when I came down here and I met the faculty, it was just kind of like an instant connection with my family and walking around the campus. And since being here, in and out of the classroom, my experiences have been above and beyond.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we actually have a question from one of our viewers. And Stephanie asks, what are the class sizes for nursing courses like? So Katie?
So for the graduate program,
I would say undergrad. What size of the classes?
For undergrad, I mean, Jamison's currently in your undergrad.
Yeah, so I mean, for undergrad, our classes will range between, depending on the class, I mean, our labs are going to be as small as 8 students to a faculty member. Some of our lectures are going to be up around 80, and then some of our lectures are actually 160. But we'll probably have about 3 to 4 professors that are also with the entire course. So it's not as if there's one faculty member taking on the course load. So there's always different people to be able to reach out to, which is definitely helpful.
And what would you say? What would you say is the benefit to having that smaller or even bigger class sizes?
I think
it ranges.
Obviously with lab, very hands-on skills are being done, so having that professor right next to you correcting every little minuscule detail is definitely very important. Carrying that into your clinical setting, and then with the bigger classrooms, it's pretty helpful with studying, especially for tests and exams, because you're all in the same classroom, so everyone's walking into this exact same test, as opposed to some of the undergrad, first year classes where different people are getting tested out by different professors that not in the nursing program. But yeah, I think that's definitely the most beneficial part of that.
That's awesome, yeah. And for the labs, Jamison, this is a question for you from one of our viewers. What is the lab setting like, and what is the technology like?
The technology is very advanced. It was definitely one of the most advanced that I've seen when I was touring my schools. Having that professor behind you with the different patients or mannequins that we have with us. It's definitely very beneficial with the technology that we have, and I think having that different technology and actually what the mannequins can do and the way we control it in our control room is definitely something to see.
Easy to use, very hands-on.
Correct.
Erica, I'm sure that you can speak to the different types of technology that you teach students to use. What's that like?
Absolutely. So, I really feel Quinnipiac's at the cutting edge of technology. We speak a lot about this as faculty. We have a dedicated simulation director, and her role is to make sure that we're cutting edge in our simulation experiences. So we use a variety of simulation experiences, from mannequins to standardized patients, or even dabbling in what does virtual reality simulation do for students. And so I would say we're definitely very cutting edge.
So another question from one of our viewers, Rachel asks, what is the hardest part of being a nursing student, and how has Quinnipiac supported you?
I'd like to answer that.
Sure.
So coming here undergrad and then now going to grad school, one of the biggest things that I learned here was time management, and that I can do more than just nursing. Undergrad, I was in a sorority as well as doing nursing school, and then in grad school, I'm working as a nurse at the same time,
Oh, wow.
going to clinical and going to class. So it's something that's very manageable because you learn the time management skills, and you also have the support. You have the support from like the Learning Commons if you need it, which they help with time management and study skills, but then you also have the support from the faculty. So those are two things that are key, especially when you're an undergrad, so that when you move into your profession, you have that, and you're not as like overwhelmed by wanting to do more than just study in school.
Right. And so those Learning Commons, they obviously help you with tutor and mentoring students outside the class.
Correct.
But now, as far as faculty goes, we have another question that asks, do professors have office hours for students to ask questions or get extra help? Erica, I'm sure.
Sure, I can take that.
Yeah.
So we do have office hours, but what we find really is that our faculty is very, very accessible outside of our posted office hours. So, whether it's email, whether it's, a video conference, or whether it's in person, we're very accessible. So absolutely, come on into our office, say hello, see us in the hallway, and we'll definitely always make time for you.
So now, what are some types of extracurricular activities? So outside of the classroom, Katie, I know you mentioned you were in a sorority, but maybe for Jameson, what are some of the things that you'd have done outside of the School of Nursing?
Similar to Katie, I was the president of my fraternity, and I've been in that for 4 years. So balancing time management, as Katie had said, is definitely something. But I mean, we just had our Yale Quinnipiac hockey game, which is always like a big crowd,
big hype game, right.
big crowd pleaser down here at school. Definitely gets the morale going at school. There's never an endless amount of stuff that you can find on campus.
Right,
So.
and I understand that you were in a learning living community for nurses. Can you explain that a little bit and what it was like?
Yeah, so as a freshman, freshmen are able to live in learning communities. Luckily, nursing has one of their own. My class was the guinea pig class for it, so we were the first ones to go through it. So we lived in the Mountain View dorms on the top floor, so there was 40 students up there. Moving in, I was kind of nervous, especially being a guy. I didn't know if we were going to fill it with all nursing students. I ended up living with 7 out of the 8 kids in my dorm room were nursing students, and living up there was beneficial, kind of having everybody in the same classes, and it would be coming home from class and sitting out in our dorm rooms and like doing homework, like working together on projects and
Yeah,
such
so
things.
it's definitely helpful and you make friends. So it's a good experience both in and out of the classroom.
100%.
Thank you guys for your insight. That was wonderful. And thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
But don't go anywhere. We have another segment coming on new experiences and programs in the School of Nursing. Come visit our campus. There are so many opportunities for you to see the Quinnipiac community for yourself. For more information on upcoming open houses, preview days, admitted students days, and more, visit qu.edu/studentslive. And remember, don't miss your opportunity to win a customized Quinnipiac School of Nursing Bobcat prize pack. It's over to the side. It's got a lot of cool stuff in it. I'm sure anyone who wins it would be lucky to have it. So all you have to do is like this video by the end of the live show, and we'll select one lucky winner at the end of the show. the School of Nursing is introducing a new professional resource and program to students. Tonight we have our special guests to talk more about those opportunities. Ashley Durkin, Barbara Glynn, and Sue D'Agostino, thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
So my first question for Barbara, students today are treated in integrated teams, right? So how is Quinnipiac preparing students to be a part of those interprofessional teams?
We're very lucky here at Quinnipiac to have actually a center for interprofessional education for students, and through that center we can develop lots of different simulations. We do case studies and experiences for students that they can work together collaboratively as a team. And we all know that teamwork actually has better patient outcomes than when someone works individually. We've done things with PA students where these nursing students would have to call the PA students for orders, say if one of their patients was crashing. Or we've done things with program engineering, software engineering actually, where our students and the software engineering students developed a system to document codes in the hospital on a computer rather than by hand with paper. So it doesn't necessarily have to even be a medical or a health science collaboration. We've also done it with software engineering.
And I know for nursing, there are a lot of clinical hours that go into that.
Yes.
Sue, can you talk a little bit about that experience, what it's like for students?
Sure. We have two tracks. The master's is coming back fall of 2019. Presently, we have the DNP program. Each is going to need a certain amount of clinical hours. Give or take, for adult geriatric, it would be 47 credits throughout the either full-time or part-time, and pediatric would be 53 credits. We have clinical sites throughout the state. Again, it depends what track the student is in and what they need for clinical hours. Clinical hours is 120 hours per semester, and we make sure for the masters they'll have 600 clinical hours by the time they graduate, and for the DNPs it'll be 500 plus hours, almost 700 hours of clinical time, plus their QI project, which also adds to their hours.
Don't have to do the math to know that's a lot.
It's a lot of hours, yeah.
Right. And we have a question from one of our viewers. Megan asks, what typical clinical sites do you go to? So you mentioned that before. Could you give a couple examples?
Sure. They're in the hospital. Some students want to be hospitalists, so we are a primary care focused program. We are not acute care, but they certainly can be hospitalists. A lot of the hospital clinics, the specialties, renal, cardiology. We use a lot of private offices. As partners are now kind of jumping on board with each other. Some huge partners in the state, Harvard Hospital, Yale, ProHealth, to give them some airtime. And certainly Starling Medical and actually Stalewall out in Waterbury are just a few.
So all relatively
pretty much
close.
all the big players in the state.
Right. Remember to submit your questions now in the comments section below. We'd love to answer them live on air by our guest. And speaking of which, we have another question for Barbara. And Vanessa asks, when do clinicals begin and how far are they from campus? And I guess for Ashley afterwards, can you talk about your experiences with them in general? So Barbara.
Okay, clinicals begin the first semester in your fall of your junior year when you come into the nursing program. There's a medical surgical experience for the students for the whole semester, and every semester thereafter there are clinicals, and usually one or two, sometimes even three, when we have our pediatric and maternity rotation, and also there's a med-surg rotation, so there's actually 3 in the one semester. So it's every semester from the time you start the program. We have affiliations throughout the whole state with all of the big institutions. We go as far north as Danbury and out east, almost out to New London. So we really, the students could be anywhere in the state.
And how far would you say Danbury and New London are from our campus?
Danbury's about an hour. And Hartford, or down to Bridgeport, probably, depending on the traffic, could be about an hour, maybe a little bit more.
Right. And so, Ashley, what are some of your experiences in general with the clinicals?
Well, I've had really good experiences with all of my clinical sites. I've gotten to be in a variety of hospital settings, a variety of floors as well. Often.
So you get a feel for all the different types.
Yeah, we have our different rotations, but also within medical, surgical, we can be put on floors with post-op patients, cardiac patients. You typically get a very well-rounded experience, and I feel like I've been very prepared by my clinical settings.
Another question we have from one of our viewers asks, could you elaborate on what the holistic approach to nursing means? Sue or Barbara, can you answer that?
I think Jameson actually in the first segment did it very well. Again, it's involving the total patient environment as well as care. We're a holistically endorsed program, all programs, undergrad as well as graduate, and all of that is intertwined through our curriculum in each course.
It's actually taking care of the patient holistically, body, mind, and spirit, because when all three are in connection and working fine, the patient tends to heal better and faster that way. And it's also a method of caring. You know, hospitals have their high-tech treatments, but sometimes something as small as a gentle touch or a holding of a hand can be also as healing as some of the big technology that we have. So we teach our students both of those, the high tech, and we also do the light little touch things that make it special.
Yeah, and you mentioned those little touches, they make all the difference sometimes. Another question we have for Ashley, what have been some of your experiences regarding extra resources outside the School of Nursing that has helped you and support you in your successes?
Outside of the School of Nursing, I've definitely found the Learning Commons to be a really good resource. I actually work for the Learning Commons, so I kind of see like the background of it and how we work, and we actually kind of work to meet the student based on like how they best learn. So some people are visual learners, other people listen through talking through things. So I found that that has been an incredible resource, and I've learned a lot about bringing those types of methods actually into nursing as well.
Right, and then as far as inside the School of Nursing goes, what are some of the resources there that you found helpful?
I really took a lot from the sim labs. So there are some certain skills and certain types of patient backgrounds that you're not necessarily going to get before you graduate, and that's just because you can't control which types of patients or what skills you need to perform. So I find that the sim labs are really helpful with practicing those skills that you might not get to see before you graduate and you enter the workforce. And our sims, they replicate actual patients, so it's very lifelike.
Right. And so from a professional standpoint, how would you explain how important the simulation labs are to students?
Well, in the simulation lab, a student can make a mistake and not hurt someone. And so it becomes a really great learning experience. We do what we call debriefing after we have a simulation, where we talk about the things that went very well in the simulation, and we also talk about the things where we could have some room for improvement. So it's really a nice experience for the students because they don't have to feel like, you know, it's a safe place is actually what it is. And we try to bring to them simulations of patients they may encounter, and maybe patients that would be a rarity that they might see. For instance, one of the big simulations that we do are codes, and our students tend to really like the codes because they'll all probably at some point be in one of those in the hospitals or wherever they're practicing. And so we really bring that whole experience in for the student, so that when there is one, they have an idea about what's going to be going on in one of those.
Just to jump in on that,
yeah.
I actually, my capstone is at the emergency department, so actually having that code simulation last semester has been really helpful because I've gotten to see that experience firsthand.
Definitely, so definitely applies and transfers over into what you really want to do. Well, thank you for your time and for joining me tonight. That's all the questions we have. But don't go anywhere, we have one more segment on career development in the School of Nursing. And come visit our campus. There are so many opportunities for you to come see the Quinnipiac community for yourself. For more information on upcoming open houses, preview days, admitted students day, and more, visit qu.edu/studentslive. And don't forget your opportunity to win a customized Quinnipiac School of Nursing Bobcat prize pack. It's got a lot of cool stuff in it, and all you have to do to win it is to like this video by the end of the live show, and we'll select one lucky winner at the end. It's important for going into the healthcare industry to experience the field inside and outside the classroom, as well as professional environments. So tonight we're going to talk more about those experiences. Here with me are Alex Ford and Deb Fisher. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Katie.
So my first question, more for Alex. Can you tell us a little bit about the experience you've had outside of the classroom?
Yes, so the main reason why I chose Quinnipiac initially was because of all the internal opportunities that the campus has to offer. But like now looking back at the 4 years that I've spent here, little did I know how much the nursing school would prepare me to be a nurse that could accomplish her dreams. So my ultimate dream was to become a pediatric nurse at Connecticut Children's Medical Center. And like through high school and a little before college, people would be like, oh, pediatrics, like you'll get there someday, you'll get there eventually, because it was a specialty. So I adapted that same kind of attitude. I was like, eventually, Right. And then Quinnipiac, thanks to the university and the School of Nursing, it kind of taught me that my dream doesn't have to be on hold and like I don't have to wait for it, and that the dream is now. And they taught me that through the different clinical pediatric experience that I've had, and like specifically the internship that I was chosen for called the Flynn Fellowship, which gave me an opportunity to actually work at Connecticut Children's for 8 weeks.
Wow, that's incredible. And we actually have a question from one of our viewers for you, Alex. So Paige asks, what sort of extracurricular activities are you involved in at Quinnipiac? And are they improving your experience?
Yes, so specifically, right now I'm the director of marketing for Q-Thon. So Q-Thon is our university's dance marathon that actually supports the children at Connecticut Children's. So right in there it ties in,
Totally.
Nursing with the fact that we're all raising money and awareness for the kids of Connecticut Children's on campus itself. And it's not just for nursing students, it's for everyone in the community. There's Greek life involved, there's media, things like that. There's also events like Big Event that incorporates helping the community, and the team of nursing can, register for that.
Right, and Q-Thon is coming up soon, so that's exciting.
Yes, definitely.
We have another question for you, Alex. Why did you choose Quinnipiac over other nursing programs, and was it the right decision?
So it was 100% the right decision for me. So thinking back to when I was a senior going into my freshman year at Quinnipiac, or at college, actually, I was thinking what school can benefit me in the here and now? How am I going to be the most happy and the most successful, right now? And looking forward now, I realized that the school I was looking at was going to give me the most opportunity, and that's why I did choose Quinnipiac, because of the simulation labs that were discussed previously, and because of all of the different clinical opportunities that we are given in certain specialties, and that's what made me thrive in the external, outside the classroom.
Right. We have another question. We love these questions. What are the academics like the first 2 years of nursing programs for undergrad students?
So I would describe them as having kind of a lot of freedom to do what you would like to do in those 2 years. So I would definitely encourage prospective students to get involved in those first 2 years, because your academics are a little bit lighter. You kind of have freedom to choose. I took a public speaking class, and that gave me confidence to talk in front of crowds and things like that, and even presentations. You can take different art classes in history, and it's kind of more like a holistic approach your first 2 years, while you're still getting in the anatomy and the chemistry and things like that at the same time.
Definitely. And so Deb, from a staff perspective, what are the career resources available to students?
Well, Katie, we have many resources for our students to help them transition into professional practice. One of the things that we offer is a health career fair on the North Haven campus every year. The career fair is actually going to take place next week. We have over 60 employers, not only from Connecticut, but from Massachusetts, New York, and New Jersey, who will be attending.
Wow. And Alex, I'm sure that you've attended the fair. Can you explain your experience there?
So I attended the fair, but what stuck out to me the most was the private presentation that Connecticut Children's actually had in one of our classes. So two nurses actually visited one of our med-surg classes and talked to the class as a whole, because the fellowship was specifically special to the university, because they only chose 2 schools to be as an opportunity to apply, and Quinnipiac was one of those 2 schools. So we looked at it as an honor at the same time.
Right. And besides that health career fair, what are the other resources available?
Well, we also encourage our students to have a resume that they can bring to the career fair. So we offer them individualized appointments to work on those resumes, as well as group workshops. We also offer mock interviews for the students so they can practice those interviewing skills. This way, when they have that real job interview, they know how to present themselves, they can answer the questions that are presented. So we do encourage them to take advantage of those things.
Definitely, and that leads right into my next thought. Alex, what are the internships that you've had? What have those experiences been like for you?
So as I had said before, I had an internship at Connecticut Children's. It was a paid 8-week internship, and I got to work with a very vulnerable population. It was the pediatric oncology population. So you know, these kids, they're going through a lot. Their families are really going through even more, and I felt prepared as a Quinnipiac nursing student because we have so many different trial runs and simulation labs about therapeutic communication and how to handle yourself in those vulnerable situations where you also feel vulnerable as the nurse. But because of my past experiences throughout these 4 years, I went in there with confidence, and it made all the difference.
So certainly an easy transition, both from faculty and what you've learned. And now we have another question from Alyssa, and she asks, what are some advice that you could give to incoming students? Alex, what do you have for that?
So my advice would be that nothing is too big to accomplish. So when you're going in, don't hesitate to join that club. Don't hesitate to join the organization. Your first year, you may be nervous about studying and what you're going to have to juggle and being away from home and that whole transition. But the more you get involved and the more you could surround yourself with people that are similar to yourself, you're going to grow as a person, and you're going to see how much you can mature in those 4 years.
Definitely. Deb, what would you say to an incoming student?
I would have to say that you definitely want to join the clubs, have extracurricular activities. The friends that you make in college, in nursing, are going to be your friends for life. So it's a wonderful experience.
Definitely. Well, thank you for all of your insight and joining me tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
So remember to come visit our campus. It's beautiful. There are so many opportunities for you to see the Quinnipiac community for yourself. For more information on upcoming open houses, preview days, admitted students days, and more, visit qu.edu/studentslive. Before we leave you, we have drawn a name from all of the likes on the video, and the lucky winner of the Bobcat Prize is Alexandra Napolitano. Congratulations. That's all the time we have for our show this evening. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you on one of our campuses soon.